Welcome to the Real Board Loft. I'm Trip Forman, and today we are talking about the sessions on the Ryan Sakal Sabre. This is the board that I surfed to gather the sessional stoke and knowledge and share it with everybody. This board has no dimensions written on it anywhere. It's secret, but it is a 7.0 stock dimensions. Ryan Sakal. You can find those dimensions realwatersports.com/surfing, then go to surfboards, go to surfing, then go to surfboards, then go to Ryan Sakal, then look at the top of the page, and you can see all the dimensions from 6.6 all the way to 7.6. You can custom order the odd sizes, you can custom order bigger, you can custom order smaller, you can custom order in those dimensions and go with crazy tints. Whatever you want to do, but they're all right there. realwatersports.com/surfing, surfboards, Ryan Sakal, Sabre, boom, there they all are. All right, so back to the board. The Sabre, what is the Sabre? We talked a little bit about the lasso. The lasso is the 2+1 mid-length. The Sabre is the twin fin mid-length. And this board is a twin fin with a channel bottom out the back. And it also has a little wing, little bump in right here, just about at the trailing edge of these keel fins going into the tail. So I would say, and we talked about this in the intro video. We did a little video, if you haven't seen it yet, about bringing Ryan's boards into the Real Board Loft. We talked about this board and the similarities. The closest board that we carry to this is the Maurice Cole Reverse V twin pin. This board compared to the twin pin, and these are all subtle differences, but it's a little bit wider in the nose, it's a little bit wider in the middle of the board, and then the tail is a little bit wider. So overall, it just carries a little bit more width. We're not talking about a lot. We're talking about like 1/4 inch extra, 1/2 inch extra, the whole length of the board. But where you really see it is in the nose and the tail. Right here is wider, and then the nose is wider, and so that's gonna give the board more low end push and like kind of more drive in softer waves compared to the twin pin. The other difference in this board is that this board has been designed around a modern keel fin rather than an upright twin fin. A lot of the boards are using like an MR style twin fin. This board was built and the box is placed around having what's called a modern keel, which is a keel fin but not like super raked like way back. It's basically halfway in between a more upright twin like the Maurice Cole twins and something that was like really raked. It's like, it looks like a keel, but it's a little bit more vertical than a keel. So this one right here, and these are the fins that Ryan recommends. These are the Christensen keel fins that are available in futures boxes through Captain Fin or FCS boxes through FCS. And also the channel bottom, and like we said, a little bit more tail area. So looking at that tail, you could definitely tell it's a little wider. And Ryan said that a lot of people that are riding this board in beach breaks, and they want to like kind of tighten up that turning radius, like kind of get more turns per distance down the wave if the waves are shorter. You can ride it with like a more upright twin to kind of tighten up that turning radius, but he said ideally if you're buying one set of fins, go with the keels. That's going to give you the best all-around performance. All right, first session on this board. Let's talk about the first session. The very first session, I actually wasn't even surfing it. Jake Sachs, our marketing manager, was surfing it. I was surfing the Ryan Sakal lasso. We were supposed to trade back and forth. I was having so much fun on the lasso. He was having so much fun on this board that neither one of us wanted to trade that early in the game. So what Jake was telling me about the board, which I value his input a lot. He's a good surfer. He's also a accomplished shaper. Like he's shaped a lot of his own boards and had his own surfboard label for a while. He was really impressed, you know, by the ability to like get the thing on rail quick, and this was at the lighthouse, get it on rail quick, like how much speed it had like down the line, like when you started like working the board and pumping it, like how much linear speed the board had, like generated by the twin fins, the keel fins, and the channel bottom, and also like how much speed the board carried through the turn. And so he was like big-eyed, like lit up, and definitely psyched on the performance. And he got a lot of waves that day, and by far got like the wave of the day. So he was definitely winning and having a super good time. My first surf on this board, I took this thing in the bag to California, and got all the sessions that I got on this board, again, were at Ventura Point and C Street. Rode it all different parts of that point, of that stretch. For those of you that have been there, like the top of the wave, like right at the point, has like the most size and the most power. And that's where my first session was on this board. I wanted to see, like, you know, kind of what the upper limit was of this thing, and it was about head high, maybe some bigger sets, and it felt really, really good, noticeably fast. And the thing that hooked me on this board was the speed that it carried through the turn, like what Jake mentioned. Like, this thing like just absolutely flies, and then you could project speed like out of the turn on this thing that's you normally don't feel like in boards this in this size. And it was really like that very first, like, again, I'm goofy, so I'm going backside on these rights, that first roundhouse, like the speed that it carried through the turn was super impressive. So I was really psyched on that. But you could definitely feel the speed on this board, the drive that you get from having, you know, a longer, straighter outline. And then also the drive that you get from these keels, like the additional, like any twin fin, you're going to get drive, but by adding the keels, you're going to get more drive, like more just linear, like hauling ass down the line pump speed. And then the extra drive that you get from the channels as well. So, I mean, that's the top end of the board, and having, like, just having that speed, additional speed, and just like the flow through the turns was really, really cool. Again, like, I surfed it at the middle of the point to be able to get like a little bit smaller size rights and lefts, like also really impressive there. And, you know, I would say, you know, above average, and just a really good board. Like, I had nothing to criticize about it. It was always working and always just going fast and having a good time. The other thing that kind of blew my mind was I got lured into the lower point, which looked like a full-on, if I would have like surfed it again, I would have fully logged it. But you know, a friend of mine I was surfing with really wanted to surf the bottom of the wave because there was nobody down there. He's like, hey, let's go down there, wait for the sets, it'll be good. But it ended up being really soft and pretty small. So we're talking like backside, waist high, 45-degree crumblers, you know, so like not much push, and even smaller than that on a lot of them. And this board, even at a 7.0 and not all that thick for me, was real slippery through the water, like kind of frictionless, going, like no resist. It wasn't like bogging and pushing, like you could still like create speed and go and ride the thing in really small waves. And, you know, a lot of times you look at like anything pintail and you're like, okay, that's only for good waves. But this thing even went in, like, I mean, straight up like no leash locking waves. It still went well with an older, bigger, backsided, big-footed, heavy-legged surfer. It still went. So that was a really cool feel and a surprise. And I would say that surprise was kind of on par with how much speed it carried through the turns. So yeah, that trip I got to surf this thing pretty much anywhere from, like, at the bottom of the point, I would say it was like maybe the biggest wave I caught was stomach high, and the smallest one was like at the end of them were like shin high. And then at the top of the point there was a bunch of overhead sets and like head high sets to feel out the upper limit, and then kind of everywhere in between, like, as I worked my way up and down the point. But super fun board, great range. That's another thing that I could say about this board, is that it's a really good kind of one and done. Like, you could ride it for a lot of different conditions for its size and design. And I really like the way that this fin setup felt, and then that wider tail as well. As, like, you know, as the waves got softer, this thing didn't lose its juice. All the Ryan Sakal boards are made at the Christensen Moonlight factory. So you're gonna see like the quality of the blanks and the glassing and just the finish work, as well as like the airbrushes that are available, the tints, the gloss and polish finishes, like all that stuff that's available on Christensen's. You can get it for Ryan's boards, you know, either stock off the shelf or when we do custom orders. You know that his shaping is there, like, you know, winning best in show, and like all the results that he's had, like, on, you know, competing on his own boards or selling, you know, the results of the reviews, like, you know, from people that are buying them and surfing them. Everybody really likes them. But pairing that up with Moonlight is an awesome combination to be able to get the thing built really well and having it look sexy looking as well. So if anybody out there has any questions about the Sabre or would like to place an order for one, stock or custom, you can always call us at the shop, 252-987-6000, or look us up online, realwatersports.com/surfing. Thanks for tuning in.